Riga. Our capital city. Our cultural center. Our beautiful architecture. Welcome to Riga.
Welcome to Riga.
Let's race.
Well, hello, Sveiki, and welcome to Latvia for round 9 of the 2018 FIA World Rallycross Championship. You've joined us live, ready for qualifying 2. The cars are lining up on the grid, about to launch into the crucial second and final today session of qualifying. You may notice here that Alex Verts has joined us again. He may well be a Le Mans and Formula 1 legend, but he's got a learner sticker on the back of his car. It doesn't mean that anyone's giving him any quarter. He's got a little bit of a rubbing damage there on the back of his car. So in the support categories, European Rallycross and Super 1600s, we've seen lots of action into turn 1. Are we going to see that kind of action here as we start qualifying 2? Let's have a look at this amazing place. We're out in the forests just outside of Riga. Bikinieki, it's the national sports base. Lots of stuff happens here. It's been a racing circuit since it was built in the 60s, but since 2016 we've been racing here in the FIA World Rallycross, and what a superb venue it is. It hasn't got 1, it hasn't got 2, it's got 3 jumps on a lap, every single lap, so very exciting. Let's have a look. If you weren't here earlier, where were you? You should have been there for Q1, but if you weren't there, let's see how things stand. Of course, Jan Kristoffersen is leading, but he only beat Sebastian Loeb's time by 9,000ths of a second. It was a brilliant, brilliant qualifying session. Matthias Ekstrom, Petter Solberg, Timmy Hansen and Andreas Bakker would make up the top 6. Nico Müller, great performance by him to be in 7th in the Audi S1 EKS car, and Niklas Gronholm is there in 8th now. The 2 GCK Megans, Gerland Schischwitz in 9th. Liam Doran had a very troubled Q1, but he's still there, just on the cusp. The person who's just ahead of him in P12 is Yanis Balmanis, obviously local hero. In fact, let's see if we can have a little chat with him. Yanis is just standing here next to Topi Heikkinen, so Topi's there, but we'll just have a quick word with Yanis, because Yanis, first of all, what an amazing place. You've seen this grow from the first time we came here 2 years ago. It's so much bigger now here in Latvia.
Yeah, actually, they have put so much effort into it, and we were in City Parade, and now we are here, and all the spectators, you see, it's only a few places below where you can see the chair, and all the fans. Rain is just won his Q2, and all the fans were cheering up quite a lot, so I'm really glad that Latvian fans are so good at here.
Now we basically, when you're standing anywhere on this circuit, you can hear the crowds reacting, ooh, ah, and cheering. They especially cheer a lot for you. So if you have a message for the people watching, what would you say?
I would say in Latvian, es vēlos pateikt visiem faniem, paldies, ka esat šeit ieradušies. Jūs tiešām esat labākie tā, ka jūs atbalstījāt Reinu, kur viņš uzvarēja, tas bija super, bet es vēlētos, lai jūs par mani bļaujat vēl nedaudz skaļāk.
All I got there was paldies, which is thank you, and super. Give us a sense of what you said in English.
I say it was thank you for cheering us so much, especially for Reinis, that he won the Q2 right now, and the last sentence was please cheer for me a little bit louder.
Very good. Now, you had a great event here last year. Let's hope you have the same this year. Well done.
Yes, thank you very much.
He's got Topi Heikkinen alongside him. Of course, will want to move up the standings. But yeah, I think the cars are going to be firing up any minute now and moving onto the start line where they will be ready to race. And I'm sure up on the rev limiter already in the commentary booth is Andrew Coley and Guy Wilkes.
Yeah, we are ready, Neil, ready for the action that the crowd is very much ready for. We've just been watching Euros, and you saw the support there. Yanis was saying thanks for the support. Reinis Nitish, Guy, one of my favourite things, like Sebastian last weekend in France, he took the lead, whole shot in turn 1. Well, how good was the crowd noise?
It was unbelievable. I mean, when Reinis just there in turn 1, there was a bit of a kerfuffle going into it, but when he came around back onto the start-finish straight, it wasn't a Mexican wave, it was just everybody out of the seats.
It was brilliant. It was football stadium stuff. So there's a fantastic atmosphere. It's a sellout crowd of 14,000 people here today. We're going to be expecting even more tomorrow. So, okay, we're going to take a look back at the action from Q1, and you can see what happened there if you missed it. So this was Sebastian Loeb, one across from the right-hand side of your screen. Tiziano trying to come around the outside, a little bit of contact for Loeb, but that was pretty much it. So he checks out at the front. Bearing in mind the track's still pretty green at this point, but Loeb, no problems at all. You can see nobody anywhere near him, sets a time which is absolutely fantastic. Everyone else aiming for it. Ekstrom, great start from the outside here, gets in front of Solberg and his teammate backwards. Solberg jokered early, and they responded by sending Ekstrom almost immediately to cover him off. The complete opposite of the strategy that we saw in Loic last time out. So looking like Audi are across their joker strategy this weekend. Ekstrom took the flag, but he wasn't as quick as Sebastian. Timmy Hansen here, middle of the grid. He thought he got the whole shot and then looks out of his right-hand window and hello, Nico Muller's managed to slot up the inside. DTM driver doing brilliantly in free practice, but Timmy clearly having the better of him in terms of pace, chasing him down during Q1. He ran a little bit wide, and that was all Timmy needed to slot up the inside and take the position back. So he takes the checker, but he'd lost that time on the first lap. Still Sebastian Loeb is top of the timesheets, and there's only one race left to go. But look who's in this last race, Johan Kristoffersson, down to turn one. He's just in front, despite a bit of contact between Kevin, the others. Kevin ends up in the wall, he's the big loser. Watch Gronholm here, off to the left, has to miss the tyre wall, comes back on, boom, side of Liam Doran. Liam Doran carrying damage, but looking at it, possibly not from that instant, maybe from the contact down in turn one. So Liam did well to hold on and get himself into 13th place. He might be able to make it through. Johan Kristoffersson, meanwhile, took the win by 9 thousandths of a second. And if you want to watch Q1 back, I think you'll find I might have said it just slightly higher in Q1 than I did that time. So yeah, slightly high pitch, but you know, there you go. I get excited about these things. What can you say? So we looked into the times. You remember we were saying, was it fast enough? And thanks to at WRX Stats on Twitter, who's like the stat man, mysterious stat man. No one knows who he is. And we've looked the results up and checked. It was him who flagged it. It was closer. Lydden Hill 2017. Timmy Hansen beat Johan Kristoffersson in Q4 by 5 thousandths of a second. And we've actually had to finish that close, of course, at Estering between Ekstrom and Solberg. It was so close we had to refer to the timing screens to do it. Guy, that's the point really. You know, everyone's going, oh, Kristoffersson's done it again here, no one can beat him. He can be beaten.
Yes, it's great to see so early on an event like this but bear in mind, Johan's pace usually gets better throughout the weekend, but generally most of the people do get quicker and quicker over the weekend. But 9 thousandths of a second over that first Q1. But you have to look a bit further down the timesheets. There was a lot of differentiation between, there's a lot of carnage, a lot of action, tyre walls, as you saw there in that last shot. Kevin Hansen got dumped out into the tyres. He's well back. A lot of carnage going on.
Yeah, it's a strong entry this weekend. There's 20 cars, but all of them are good drivers. But as you say, if you look at Liam and Kevin didn't have particularly good runs, and they're in like 13th and 15th. So all to play for. 3 sessions to go, 1 session down. I say there were 9 thousandths in between it. How close will it be this time? The first race, of course, features those who struggled just a little bit in Q1. So let's take a look at race 1, Q2. Alex Burt's then on the inside, still learning Rallycross. This guy just loves this sport, which is great to see. He was asking yesterday about the jump. He'll have learnt the jump now. Still a little bit of gravel technique to get his head over. He had a little spin in the first one, but I love the fact this top-class professional driver is here having fun. Robin Larson not having fun. Didn't have a good weekend in Loic and hasn't had a good weekend here so far. Broken rear suspension. Timo Scheider, we think, had a problem possibly with suspension too. Oliver Bennett span, we're told, at the last corner because he thought it was the last lap. Fair enough. I got that wrong in Q1 as well. And Kevin Eriksson on the outside. So let's unleash this lot down to turn 1, shall we? Get Q2 underway. Marshals will give the drivers a thumbs up. That's pretty much where everything starts to get switched on. You hear the engine notes start to change. They go through their own little personal procedure to get things ready. You'll really hear them rise when the orange lights come on top right, ready to race. Here we go. That goes out, and then we're going to go racing. Oh, a little nudge from Eriksson on the left-hand side, but doesn't have to get out on the throttle. I thought he was going to jump the start. Scheider and Larson down towards turn 1. I think Scheider's going to get it. Burt's going to get squeezed on the inside. Bennett goes in behind him. Burt's is going to get P3 here. Larson might be on the inside of Burt's. So Larson and Burt's here. Drag race down to turn 3. Wirtz, though, is going to get this one. Last time we look up the inside, but Wirtz uses those racing skills to go defensive, and it's Scheider who gets the whole shot there. Oh, and he's dropped it on the brakes. Nearly took Wirtz out. Definitely gave him a little nudge. Wirtz with another bit of contact, and Guy, he's used to racing, but he's maybe not used to that.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, you saw him. His car was a lot straighter coming out the second corner, and he just gassed it and got away from Larson, and just was able to get himself a bit of clean air. But you know, Larson was straight in the back of him. He's been rallycrossing in a wily character. But yeah, this is the wild stuff now. You know, these guys are desperate to make amends for what might have been a mishap or a driver error in Q1. So bit of desperation going on right here.
It's not cool, is it? When something goes wrong in Q1, how do you do it?
Teammates here, right up into this bumper.
Need to not get stuck too much into each other. What do you do? I know, you know, you've done enough rallycross to have had a bad Q1. It happens occasionally. How do you come back from it? Because it's that psychological thing of going, that's it, the weekend's over.
Forget it. You can't do anything about it, so you've got to move forwards. But as we're seeing here, I mean, Bennett's just yeah, these three here, uncharacteristic mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
And Wirtz there obviously is joking, so, you know, these three are in a train, but they're all over each other, but they keep making small mistakes, so they're just hemorrhaging time.
It's good for Wirtz, actually. So Wirtz is joking early. He's only 4.6 back. He's kind of going to hope, I reckon, that maybe these guys hold each other up for another lap.
Larson's got to go. Yes, no, he hasn't, because Bennett has.
So they can't now, can they? So they have to stay.
That's okay for them.
It might work out for Wirtz as well. So this is Wirtz versus Bennett for P5. Oliver Bennett coming around the outside now, looking at the merge. Look at the Joker exit. You can see on the inside it's quite tight, on the outside it's wide. You carry more speed, you can cover it off. On this occasion, Bennett can't. We saw people shutting the door last year, Guy. You can take some very clever lines out that last corner.
Absolutely, and it depends on how much grip's there, and depends if it's wet or dry. But these guys here, it's like silhouettes, isn't it? Watching them dance around the corners. I mean, there's a little bit of a gap now between, but that's what I mean. Larson's quicker in a certain part of the track, and Ericsson is in different parts.
Contrast their styles there for us, because through that left-hander, I've seen totally different style from them. So, you know, Larson sideways and Ericsson more straight.
Yeah, Ericsson was driving, I noticed, in the last corner with quite a bit of understeer, but let's just watch the chassis into the hairpin here. We're not going to get a real good tell because there's quite a bit of grip in there and it's banked that corner, but as we watch it here now, come round into the right again, obviously they're going to split strategy because Ericsson's all over him.
Well,
I say all over him, but
a little bit deep.
Yeah.
This is Ericsson versus Wirtz this time, so Ericsson over the jump, looking for Alex Wirtz around the outside. Wirtz might be getting a hurry up from his spotters. Going to try and cover off Ericsson on the inside. Go on, Alex, shut the door. Alex Wirtz around the outside of Kevin Ericsson. Nicely done.
Yeah, good move. He actually didn't shut the door. He stayed wide, so he didn't make contact. If he'd have made contact then yes, Ericsson could have squeezed up the inside.
Lovely job. Nice to see Wirtz with a big push on, and once he gets stuck into this guy and he really starts to enjoy it and follow the quick guys on gravel too, he's starting to pick up those little bits of technique that he needs to move the car around a bit more underneath him.
Remember, this guy's used to high downforce cars, skimming the deck, not leaving the ground over jumps and, you know, sideways around corners.
Yeah.
It's kind of new to him. He's a professional driver, don't get me wrong.
The contrast,
but the contrast in this circuit is absolutely fantastic.
Scheider around the outside, Larson into the joke lap behind him. Where is Wirtz going to finish this one? Alex Wirtz a little bit slow at the apex, gets a nudge from Ericsson. I think Larson's going to get him, so Larson around the outside. Wirtz is in full defensive mode now. Ericsson might have a look up the inside in the last corner. He does. Kevin Ericsson's going to get Wirtz at the last corner. Scheider takes a flag watch in the background. The side-by-side over the line. And it's Ericsson from Larson. Wirtz dropping down, so I think Wirtz got mugged there a little bit at the finish.
He did indeed, but that was just a little bit of lack of experience of rallycross. And, you know, Ericsson has been around rallycross all his life since he's been knee-high, so you can't take that away from him. You know, they're struggling a little bit, aren't they, with their car? You know, Osberg's obviously, it's
a lot of engines.
To see.
A lot of engines. Yeah, well, you can't see the engines, but the rest of it, yeah, I agree. It's not quite there. Guy Wilkes, good analysis as always. Timo Scheider taking it through 28.3. That would have been good enough for P8 actually in Q1. So it'll be interesting to see how the tracks develop. Kevin Ericsson and Robin Larson at just 0.2 of a second apart, and Alex Wirtz only missing out by a further 0.2, so super close. And then Oliver Bennett down in 5th place. That's what we like to see, a good bit of rallycross racing. I enjoyed that. Ericsson and Wirtz. I'm loving the Wirtz thing. You were saying, yeah, professional driver, but this isn't Formula One. This is not high downforce.
No, it's not. And you know, to be taking so much contact, yes, he's used to contact, but we're talking slight taps when people make a mistake, either when they're drifting past or, you know, just on the brakes. But to be taking smacks like that is something completely new to him.
I know he's got a few mates in Formula One who might be interested in this. Come on, Fernando Jensen. Come on, you want to have a go? You know you do. Come on. Right, let's take a look back at the replays from that one. This was down to turn 1. Scheider with a nice hole shot. Bennett actually did well there. Didn't need to come around the outside and then just take P2 on the exit.
He did indeed, and I think his strategy actually backfired. I don't know why they did joker him so early, because he was backing up the Olsberg's cars, and he's racing time, therefore points. You know, he wants to finish ahead of those guys, but he just released them and let them go.
So he's entitled, isn't he, to stay out there and stuff, and they've got to do their
strategy
strategy
around
around him.
You're racing on the road in front of you.
On the other hand, I suppose he could argue, I want to release them, I don't want the pressure behind me, but...
Yeah, no, you've got to take pressure. It's World Championship, you know, you've got to learn at the sharp end.
So this was Wirtz. Have a look at Wirtz and Ericsson on the inside. Wirtz is just a little bit slow, you can see at the apex. And in the background, watch for Wirtz coming around. Here he is, look, that's Ericsson. The eye was really close, wasn't it? Fantastic racing. Here's Neil Cole.
Timo, great to see what you can do when you get a clean race. It was a good time and a good race.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame we always facing some bad luck in the beginning of the weekend, and we missed FP3, and then we had a bad luck in Q1. So, and again, the guys put the car together, and luckily we had at least the heat win now. So performance, if we finish, seems to be okay.
Good luck later. Thank you.
Thank you. Have fun.
Okay, so Timo happy enough for now. Okay, grid already ready to go for race 2 of Q2. Here they are. On the inside, Topi Heikkinen in the other MJP racing car. Janis Baumanis, the Latvian, just inside the semi-finals look at the moment. Liam Doran looking to snatch that off him, along with Demusje and Kevin Hansen, who had a disaster trying to get a move done in turn 1. Unfortunately, ended up in the wall. So Kevin starting, I think, from the same grid slot as last time.
Yes, indeed he is.
Yeah, he is. So Kevin trying to come from there. Janis, who will enjoy the same pressure. The air horns are going off in the stands at the minute. You can hear that at home. Liam Doran will not let any of them have it their own way. And, of course, there's Heikkinen and Demusje in the mix as well. So should be good fun. Here we go. Well, Doran's car rocking there just before the start. Somehow managed to get off the line. Heikkinen looks to hooked up contact between Doran and Baumanis. In the background, Baumanis goes through. Hansen this time does come around the outside, avoids the wall. He's going to push Doran down into 4th place. Got to watch out for Demusje now. Liam Doran down in 5th place. Didn't work out, Guy.
No, absolutely didn't. But Kevin Hansen almost dropped it in that corner. But yeah, there's a lot of bumping and shoving going further back in the pack there. But up front, obviously, you know, Heikkinen, it's a while since...
no, Liam's lost out there. So Demusje with a half spin, and Liam had nowhere to go. And I thought he was teeing him up for an under-over move on the exit, Guy. Liam's like, okay, he got round him, but that's a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, but it's a long time since we've seen Topi Heikkinen at the front of a World Rallycross qualifier, isn't it?
He was all smiles yesterday. Obviously, mate, I know he'd love to come on another go, but like he was all smiles. I was like, is it good to be back? It's like, it's so good to be back. So it's nice to see him back out on board with Baumanis. Bit of handbrake through the left-hander, just skimming these walls. How close do you have to get to them to get the lap times?
Oh, absolutely, without touching them, but as close as you possibly can. But it was just a really lovely progressive transition we got from Janis Baumanis on board, then Topi on the gas, and progressively the rear of the car sat down squat and never moved. He was on the acceleration all the time.
Here we go, Guy, talk us through. Down the gears into the left.
Down the gears, little tweak of the handbrake, late apex here. You want to get it tucked in as straight as possible. A little bit too much oversteer for my liking, but that's just a personal thing there. Again, very neat around there, up the gears, coming to the jump. He might squash it, yes, a little squash back in the gas to get the nose up, down the gears, down to 2nd. Handbrake just to rotate the car, just to encourage it. Slightly banked there and quite a lot of grip. In actual fact, you just have to brake it.
Great stuff, lovely analysis, Guy there talking us through half a lap on board with the Latvian star racing at home. Liam Doran through the joke lap over the jump, and Liam, I still think he's going quickly enough. Kevin Hansen has joken, but it seems to be dropping back. I haven't spotted what had happened to Kevin.
No, me neither. He's there now. We can see him out the commentary box window.
Doran's ahead, and Kevin had approached.
No, Kevin, yeah, because
Doran was waiting. Doran was P5, wasn't he? So something's happened to Kevin, unseen by us. You've probably seen it at home. Me and Guy looking at timing screens and stuff. That's pretty standard. I didn't even know what lap we were on in Q1. Heikkinen, not as bad as Portugal though. Heikkinen over the jump, and still leading, but the gap back to Baumanis is 1.2. And we think at the minute, Guy, that the joker lap here is about 3.3. Talk us through the joker now.
Yeah, 3. It's quite dusty braking, as you can see there, but transition onto the tarmac, and you have to get it nice and square and straight like he did. Once the car is straight, you can really plant the accelerator and get the four-wheel drive traction out of the car. Here around the long left with the late apex now, but you can see Liam obviously not too far behind, considering he had a bit of a poor start.
So Liam's lap times there must be pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah, I know the GCK guys, they weren't too happy with the balance of the car, and the Pro Drive engineers have been working and toiling over data because they were really close in France, weren't they?
Okay, problems definitely for Kevin Hansen, because Kevin Hansen is just a long way off. Oh, Liam Doran hooks a wheel on the dirt, holds onto the car. Yeah, they seem to have a nice balance at low end, but they don't seem to have that quite here. But they haven't had the testing here either. Heikkinen 0.9 second lead over Baumanis, and his target time So that's 1.175 seconds faster.
Really good driving by Toppy on the exit of that corner. He could have just planted the throttle and let the car drift out wide, but he got it straight and he waited. He was half throttle, and then as soon as the car was straight, bang, he made it go forwards, not sideways.
So good traction, less time to the line.
Hit the straight line, get to the line.
Lovely stuff. Well done, Toppy. So that would have seen him, we're thinking about P7. Well, okay, Kevin Hansen, we're hearing left front puncture is what we're hearing. So I say, Demoustier had that spin on his way onto the gravel section, which definitely harmed Liam Doran's time. Demoustier coming around to take the flag, and then we'll see that race ended. So Kevin Hansen is going to need to absolutely smash it tomorrow if he wants to make it through to the semi-finals. Here are the times, 3:27.1, as I say, would have seen Toppy, I think in P7, roughly in Q1. But there was then a fair gap from the P7, P8 point through to the top guys. So it was a for P7, sorry, would have been a 3:25.9 in the previous session. So that was Nico Muller who did that time. So it's a good time, but the top guys we expect will go a couple of seconds quicker. We're yet to find out. Hakkinen leads it with 2 to go. Doran in the middle of the grid rocked on that start guy. How did he get away with that?
I have no idea. Had a couple of dips, but here he got bashed and bumped around. But here, watch, he had to fight, and so did Kevin Hansen to stay out of the wall because Liam was leaning to try and cover his ground off and make sure that Kevin backed out, but Kevin did not back out. And
could Kevin have picked the puncture up there?
Can't see.
No, it's hard to tell, but there was contact. So watch here, Demoustier in the background. Liam's gone wide tight, and I think he was lining Demoustier up to go round the outside and on the gravel.
That much, okay, yes,
no,
he lost a second.
Yeah.
But I thought you meant he was T-boned.
Yeah, no, we cut away from the camera just at that point when we were watching live, and I thought he'd been boxed in, so he didn't. But yeah, I thought he was teeing him up for a move, and then Demoustier dropped it.
Toppy drove really nicely. I mean, we've not seen fantastic pace out of these cars, these MGJP cars this year, but done a good job there.
Nicely done, Toppy. Straight line to the line and leads the session so far. He's with Neil Cole now.
Toppy, it looks like you're looking like relatively safe in the top 12 at the moment. Nice to get a race win, I guess.
Yeah, I think we were a bit lost this morning. We had a bit wrong setup, let's say. It was like our mistake. Like there was we didn't expect that the new parts, what we get good for this race, was doing like this. But yeah, now it's good to be back, and you know, I don't know where we ended at the end, but we definitely go into the right way.
Good luck, thank you.
Race 3, Q2. They're on the line already. You can see them lining up when Demoustier was finishing the race. On board with backward look, who takes the pole slot on the inside. Not necessarily the best place to be because, of course, you can carry more speed around the outside, and he's got a fair old bit of competition in this one. So Nico Muller, who was P7, look, Grona on P8, Shisha at P9, and Timozyanov, who was P10. Timozyanov's already experienced being in the wall in turn 1. We've got that brilliant bit of footage that if you're eagle-eyed, you'll have spotted in the front of this little show, standing on the roof of his car to huge crowds, cheers from the crowd when it was all water on the floor. He didn't want to get his boots wet, I think he said. So backwards on the inside for this one. What can he do from there? Well, those guys will be keen to make sure that he does a good job. That's it. That's if they're watching, because the backward lot just occasionally have a few adult beverages, I think Andreas calls them, doesn't he? After
Sherbets. He doesn't call them that.
No, well, his old team boss Ken Block does, yeah. And anyway, they'll be cheering like mad for him. What can he do from that inside grid slot? A pretty even start across. Gronon moves across, trying to contact with him, and Muller all the way down to turn 1. Contact between Shisha, and Shisha's going to go round. He's on the throttle, tries to hold on into the back of Muller. Muller goes round. Timozyanov's caught as well. Nico Muller facing the wrong way. Gronon exactly the same line he took in the last session.
Yeah, but it didn't work out for Muller this time, did he? I mean, he didn't get lucky last time. He made it happen, but that time, you know, he's still stationary. We can't see, but on board with Andreas backward. And great for him. He got a really good start, and Muller steers clear of him. Muller's getting going in the background from the second corner now, but he steered clear of Andreas backward, and that's when it all started to happen.
So you think Muller was giving backward room because of
and also trying to take a little bit of a line into the first left corner, but I mean, it worked out for Andreas. But good, let's
see what backward can do. So this is the nice thing. So backward now has been released. A guy, when this happens, you want to call from the spot to maybe to say, you've got space, mate, get this done.
Head down, see what you can do, you know, fill your boots time. But Gillen Chishri was quite lucky there, but he's taken the joker. I really want to see how these GCK cars cars perform because they've made some changes. So I want to see what the lap time's like.
Changes between Q1 and Q2.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see they had a little bit too much rear grip, what it looked like for me in Q1. I think they probably made some changes on the car.
Well, that was what apparently Liam did to the car prior to Lowiat. The pro driver guy was saying to me yesterday, they loosened it up. And you call it an operating window, Guy, and explain to people what you mean by that between a car with like a knife edge handling and a big operating window.
Well, an operating window, you always want to be comfortable driving the car. You never want it to snap or break loose on you, but you always want that to be as wide as possible for a driver, but you want the car to be fast. There is a balance between the two. Now, the problem is when you make a car, easy to drive, you make it comfortable and sometimes not fast. But these guys, you're always looking to increase grip. Sometimes you can get too much grip at one end of the car or too much grip in the car in total, and the car doesn't release and want to go forward. So it's a really fine knife edge of balancing. Sometimes you need to make more grip, sometimes you need to take it away. Front axle, rear axle, left or right.
And that, of course, is what Volkswagen have got so comprehensive. And I strongly believe, just like the Hyundai here, that comes from the rally background, constant adaptability to different surfaces and changing grip levels all the while. So if you've got a chassis that handles really well in that wide window, it's easy to drive. So that's what the guys at GTK are doing. What Baccarin is trying to do is set an absolutely mega time. So up into the right-hander and onto the tarmac, again being chased down by Gronholm. Gronholm did okay, didn't he, last time, but it was after a little bit of contact with Liam. Timotzianov looks to be struggling there.
Yeah, he doesn't. Galen's catching him up somewhat. So we'll see what happens with those two.
Okay, so we have another couple of laps to go. This is the last lap. Sorry, yeah. So time is screen showing 3, not 4. I need to look at your lovely graphics. Look on the TV. Look at the lovely graphics I get supplied with. Sorry to Andrew in graphics. I must look at your graphics and not look at the time screen. Backward, through the left and onto the gravel. Yeah,
let's just sit right on board. You can see here what I'm talking about. The car is lovely and balanced, quite loose in terms of it's doing what he wants and driving like a road car. And here you want the car to be really tight on acceleration. So when he hits the throttle, bang, goes straight.
Here we go, Joker. This is the loose braking zone, in towards the right side, a little bit of handbrake. That's lovely. That's a foot closer than he was to that apex last time. Target time 3:27.1 at the moment. That is Toppy Haken, and we will expect Baccarin to go maybe a little bit quicker than that. Here it is through the last corner. How patient will he be on the throttle? Nicely done, tight in straight again, and that is easily going to be the fastest time. 3:24.2, 2.8 seconds faster. Interestingly, it's still a little way off the quickest time from Q1, so we've got one race to go. And there was a bit of carnage at the start there. Here comes Muller now. Muller, of course, had a good run in Q1. Do you know what, tomorrow, I think the top 5 are going to be dead set, but I think what happens for the lower reaches of the top 12 guy who makes the semis is absolutely wide open.
Absolutely.
Baccarin takes it from Gronholm, Timotzianov, Shishrit and Muller. This is where they slot in. It's a Baccarin fastest. Gronholm's had a good result there. Timmer, even in P6, isn't so bad with only one race to go. It's a strong weekend for him. Liam's down in 7th, so the worst Liam will get from this is 12th. But again, this is what I mean. All the guys are in 12th, guy. It's like, we don't know.
It's a lottery, and there's so much action, and this track always throws up action, which is good.
Exactly. Well, here's a good example. Muller hoisted up onto 2 wheels. Shishrit gets spun round, look. He then bounces back, and that's not really his fault. He's on the throttle, look.
Looking at it from this point of view, they're all lucky that they finished the race.
Yeah, Muller, I feel sorry for Muller there, because really, he's been collected by Shishrit, who's trying to hold on to his own moment, the racing incident.
It's a bit of an old-school Rallycross accident, that.
Yeah.
Incident.
Yeah. A few bits hanging off the GCK machine, look. So, but okay, back, it's a decent time. Maybe the track's slower, guy. I mean, 3:24.2. I say was it 3:21.9? So there's a couple of seconds to find, maybe.
His split times were fairly consistent, and his lap times, his 2 middle lap times, were only not even a tenth apart. So, he's obviously driving well. He might have to find something more out of the car.
Okay, well, we've got another race to go, so we will find out soon enough what the track conditions are like and who is going to take Q2.
Andreas just about managed to avoid the trouble at the beginning of that race, but a great result. Think the time's good enough?
I think we will see. I think it's pretty tough now this heat. I mean, Q2 is also always a crucial one to get the good time. It's just a shame about what happened in that first corner to lose out Nico that quick. I mean, he did a good job in the Q1. It would have been good to see how quick he would have been in Q2 as well.
And you were speaking to Andreas on the radio straight after the race. What was the feedback from him?
The feedback is, I mean, the track is like expected and nothing special. I mean, a bit of a carnage in the start. He managed to avoid it, and he's happy about that. But for sure, we need to see in the next one what the time, how good it was.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so Andreas, happy enough. It wasn't the best time ever, Guy. They talk about this session being really important, and that, of course, is because it sets people up for tomorrow, as we see Timmy Hansen on board, and where they're going to start on the grid in the morning. Now, at Loiak, with the start at 8 in the morning, literally the track is wet from overnight condensation, and to some degree that will happen here. But that's why they feel the result in Q2 is important, because you want to be in a late racing in Q3.
And not only that, you get to that desperation stage, Q3 and Q4. If you're lying Q10, or your qualifying position points-wise is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, even 15, depending on how tight it is, that's the squeeze.
You're in with
quite
the risk,
literally
the risk
a squeeze
takers.
of points, and it's going to be a squeeze on the track.
Yeah, the people who are going to go, might as well send it.
They don't. They just say, I'm going to go for anything and everything.
Here we go then, the final race of Q2. On the inside, Johan Kristoffersson winning that first session from the man next to him by 9,000ths of a second. And remember, these two are the previous winners here in Latvia. Last year, Johan won to take the World Championship. The previous year, Sebastian Loeb took his first ever World Rallycross win here. Matthias Ekström, P3, Petter Solberg, P4. They've got a bit of history here, haven't they? And Timmy Hansen on the outside. Can't wait for this. Here we go. Eyes down for us, eyes up for them towards that light gantry. Super 1600s lining up in the background. They're out next. They've got 3 qualifying sessions today, but this is the conclusion of World Championship qualifying for Saturday. Close between Solberg and Hansen in terms of where they're sitting in their grid boxes. Orange lights on, here we go. Ekström's car sits down hard at the back. Ekström super flat off the line. Kristoffersson though with a brilliant start on the inside. Hansen's going to try and come around the outside, or is he going to wait and come back in? And Hansen does. Hansen's going to try and go around the outside of the pack, but it doesn't pay off this time. Solberg versus Loeb on the exit of turn 2. Oh, Loeb's in the wall. Just about with a nudge across the front. Almost takes the bumper off, and Timmy gets up the P4.
Yeah, it took a bit of skill just to take that impact, let alone a bigger one. But yeah, as we ride on board with Timmy Hansen here, you know, what a training. Kristoffersson absolutely launched that one, didn't he?
I love what Hansen did there. He went wide, but rather than try and take the risk, he's like, I'm going to wait and cut back.
It's a funnel into turn 1, into turn 2, and we've seen people not use a bit of their noggin, their brains, just to think, right, okay, just slacken back and let's see what's going to happen. Everybody wants to be in there, and they pile in.
I love that. Carnage. That's a proper British word as well, noggin. There you go. There's one for international viewers. I love it. Use your noggin. It means use your brain. That's a great one. Love it, Guy. Kristoffersson leading from Ekström, 0.4 of a second between them. Loeb, unfortunately, of course, it was the guy who was so close to Kristoffersson with that problem. I tell you what, he was within an ace of putting that car hard in the tyres.
Yeah, he was indeed. And I just wonder, his bumper's actually folding up underneath the front. I wonder if he won't have a problem with cooling in the Peugeot. It's at the back, but his intercooler temperature will probably be climbing a bit of dust. They're running that
they're running
bit of track.
Right off,
just a little
outside.
bit, yeah. But we're on board obviously with Timmy Hansen now, looking ahead of us, and you know, yeah, I think that Johan really is. I think he's just about gapped enough, but I don't think he's extended it now. I think Matthias has got on top of that, and he's stopped that or stopped the rot, should I say. It's not extending at all.
Well, the pace looks similar between the 3 factory teams. Ekström runs a bit wide there, not as tight as you saw his teammate Backward doing the previous one, but he's jokered early anyway. That might be to cover off Solberg, who's coming around now. Watch for Solberg versus Ekström. Ekström will go tight on the exit here. Okay, good. He knows he's far enough in front, so they've obviously let him know, and you're on board with Solberg.
It's smart from EKS. They covered off Petter Solberg. Petter Solberg did something because he was behind, so yeah, you know, they're on their game this weekend. I'm pleased to see. And, you know, let's hope that they have a good weekend, a better one that, or should I say, that finishes better than it did in France.
Tyre smoke there from Timmy Hansen. Looked like he must have locked it up on the way into the hairpin.
Yeah, and also Ekström got a little bit wide as well. Maybe he followed the same speed in, and it just was a little bit too quick.
Has Timmy dropped back significantly? Yes, Timmy's dropped back significantly. Timmy's back, look, into the clutches of Ekström and Co. So Timmy there, I don't know whether there was a problem with the car, but either way, has he lost the front left? Yeah, maybe.
He's so gingery in that corner. Let's see what he does in this next one.
Smoke again, you see, Guy. Look, it's whenever he's on compression on the dampers.
If the damper's gone or if it's a puncture.
It's when he's on throttle, look, the smoke stops, and then when he comes off, here we go.
It's bigger than that. It's from impact damage. Look at him wobbling around.
Oh, Timmy Hansen then holding on, needs to try and finish this one. He's behind his teammate.
Got the same problem, look.
Loeb's got
Loeb's it's like the track rod's, you know, it's kind of half broken, as if the knuckle joint inside the the steering rack, maybe, you know, the bushes really failed, doesn't it?
There's a man in the Peugeot truck now running in to get parts, and there's going to be an argument over who gets them. But this is a disaster for Peugeot. This is Kevin Hansen not having a good run this weekend either. So Peugeot are struggling here in Latvia. Kristoffersen is absolutely flying. The target time is 3:24.2. He won Q1 by 9 thousandths of a second. I think he's going to win this one by significantly more. Kristoffersen, the world champion, crosses the line. He will win Q2. 3:22.3. He's just 4/10ths of a second slower than he was last time, and he wins by 1.9. Meanwhile, Sebastian Loeb and Timmy Hansen. No, Timmy! Timmy tried to play it safe on the exit there with the problem with the rear and has spun the car, loses a couple of seconds. That's 600 horsepower going down with wildly off tracking, smoke inside the car. Him and Sebastian will both be on the radio. Guy, that's unusual to see such a similar failure on both cars.
Well, I don't think it was a failure from Sebastian's. That was impact damage, wasn't it? But you could see the track adjusting, you know, from toe in to toe out. So there was something that had play in it if the steering arm hadn't broken. So, you know, they'll know when they strip the cars.
Johan Kristoffersen then takes the final race of Q2, 3:22.3. Ekstrom, Solberg, Sebastian Loeb and Timmy Hansen in that one. But Loeb and Hansen with problems, watch where they'll go. They drop straight to the bottom. So the top three in that one go to the top three there. And in fact, look, Solberg and Backrud were super close together there. What was it, 3:22.3 down to 3:24.2. There's 2 seconds across the top four. So it's tight enough, but
Scandinavian bragging rights there for who's top dog in each of the 3 Scandinavian countries, wasn't it?
We're both looking at our timing screen down there, geeking out. Sorry about the flags and positions and things. But so conspicuous by their absence, Peugeot, a problem there. Okay, so maybe accident damage for Loeb, and then Hansen we thought was in the clear, particularly because with that clever move through turn one, he was hoping for carnage on the inside that he would benefit from, and it didn't happen. But and still they've had a problem. So
yeah, I'm only speculating, but obviously it was front left. And we didn't say anything to hit, but you noticed that he ran wide in the hairpin before the gravel section. I wonder if he just tapped the tyre bales on the inside, and maybe that's what just
pulled it.
Open wheel and just pulled it out a little bit. But
okay, so tough break for Peugeot so far this weekend. Let's have a look at the replays from that one. On board with Hansen. We'll see if we can get hold of the onboard, shall we? We'll go and have a proper... We'll actually, do you know what? We'll go and ask. So this was the tactics from Hansen, to look around the outside. He was really hoping for a bit of contact, and that could have played off, certainly could have played off with a third from looking at what happened. But this is... so Loeb by now has clipped the tyres in the background. Here's another look. Loeb's lost the start massively there, hasn't he?
That's a little touch of extra.
Kristoffersen and Ekstrom. Solberg gets up the inside of Loeb here. It's only the tyres, the second bit of contact. Look at that Loeb as well, full sort of opposite lock.
Yeah, steering to the right to avoid them. That's what I said. He did well just to take that impact.
This is Timmy, so watch Timmy's
damage is already
done. And watch him as he hits the jump here. Here we go, watch the compression. You don't see it, but the compression comes up, smoke every time. It's funny enough to see that, it was lifting off there. So anyway, look, you can see it for yourselves. There's something seriously amiss on the front end of the Peugeots. We need to see the standings, which we'll do in just a few moments' time, to let you know where they sit overnight and what is going to be the fight which we're going to see tomorrow in Q3 and Q4. But good racing so far here at Vikanieki Tras. Riga in Latvia, fantastic venue which is right in the city centre and has seen a capacity crowd today watching action like that. Here are the standings after Q2. Johan Kristoffersen winning both the sessions. The first one just by 9 thousandths of a second. This one by just a little bit more. Matthias Ekstrom is in second place after a third and a second. Solberg is down in third. Look, and Backrud, Sebastian Loeb in fifth. That's not so bad for him considering the run he just had. Gronholm, Haken and Timosyanov. Haken's right up there in P7. Brilliant performance from him. Janis Balmanis, Gulan Schischrit, Liam Doran, Timmy Hansen, look, is down in P12. Scheider, Muller, Larsen, Burtz. With Kevin Hansen, I don't think he's even on the list there. We've got some serious drivers who are looking to fight their way through to the semi-finals tomorrow. I reckon only the top 4 are secure.
Well, I've got 2 of the people who are so important to this sport behind the scenes and very important to that race. First up, Pernilla. That was good, especially considering memories you've had here with Petter before. That was a good, clean race, relatively.
I have to say, you know, every track has its own sort of things you're worried about, but I think the first corner here is something I will never forget anyway. Petter's crash here last year is something that will always follow me, obviously. But now it's nice to have a clean run. Harder for some others, but at least we had a good run in this race.
Yeah, and harder for some others. I mean, it was your two cars in that race that had the toughest race. Do you know what the problem was with Timmy and Sebastian's cars?
I don't know with Sebastian, but that was something caused in the first corner, and it's tighter. So Timmy was something on the jump instead, so something broke in the front.
And what can you do from, you've got powerless up in the spotters tower to change anything, but what can you do to keep their head together when they're driving in those conditions?
We can try to keep them cool and to not be too frustrated and to keep them making the race as good as they can, even if they have the problem there. So, I mean, it's important to grab every point you can.
And you, just briefly, do you think you've got a chance to make up a few places tomorrow morning, qualifying 3, a new day?
You know us, definitely.
Thanks, Kenneth. And Pernilla, of course, again, Johan's top of the timing sheets. But it does look like the other factory teams certainly are getting closer every round.
Definitely. I mean, we see the final in Loiak last race was incredible. We had all 6 cars, I think, within 1.2 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what we want to see. Close racing. And it's what we all want. Good competition and a lot of fighting.
As long as your two are in the top 3, it's fine.
Of course, it helps.
Well, thank you very much, you guys. We'll be watching tomorrow morning. Make sure you come back for qualifying 3 first thing tomorrow. But for now, from Riga, thanks for watching and goodbye.